Alright guys, testing 1, 2, 3. What's going on, fellow rogues? It's Maskmare here, and it is 1:16 a.m. now. But as I said, during the previous stream for The Last of Us, I'm in this for a duration tonight. I promise you guys 2 streams. That's what we're gonna be going. What we're gonna do in here, and I also promised in the last stream that I was going to try to get everything set up. So I think I kind of did pretty okay. Getting things going here pretty quickly after the last stream. Anyways, welcome in for episode 3 for Luto, which hopefully tonight will also be my final stream for this. Absolutely love this game so far. Like I said, I can definitely see why people compare this to the Stanley Parable as well as PT, even though this game has been hella confusing. And that's saying something, because it's PT, from what I heard of it, wasn't necessarily confusing. It was mainly just a playable teaser for Silent Hills, which unfortunately never happened. And the Stanley Parable in its own right was a game that was all about just the chaos. You weren't supposed to understand it. Everything was still there was definitely a narrative there that was very easy to understand and everything, but Luto definitely has been one of the most confusing horror games I've ever played. It's just mainly because I've been trying to just kind of grasp the concept of things, and so far I'm kind of thankful that I've been able to go through this and get to what I assume is probably about the halfway point without any kind of guides or anything. It's definitely a confusing game. It's been challenging, and that's what I've absolutely enjoyed about it. It's just in regards some of the mechanics of it, it's they throw puzzles at you, it's what the hell am I looking at? But yeah, overall though, I definitely have been enjoying this, which I also do have something I need to check out my YouTube channel after this. So I'm hoping I didn't accidentally set my this stream to private on YouTube, because I don't think I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't, because I had put my The Last of Us stream private on YouTube, because I got some editing I need to do on it and everything, and I'm definitely gonna get on that right after I finish this stream. But yeah, as far as Luto's concerned, for those who haven't played this, obviously I completely understand if you want to try it out for yourself before watching the stream. But it's been a hell of a ride so far in regards to the puzzles being pretty tricky. I can see why some people said they just struggled on this game for quite a while, and some of you I think said that they took them about 10 or so hours to complete it. Currently I'm on chapter 5, so I think we're in the last 5 chapters, the last 3 chapters of the game. So I guess we're kind of in a way past the halfway point. I want to say halfway point because we've welcome back in Bree. I kind of want to say like past halfway point because we found like another ghost, like where it shows like 4 ghosts up there. And I can't remember if there was 4 or 5 like on this one picture I saw, but we found I believe like the second ghost. I want to say it was second, or I can't even remember at this point how many of these things I found. That shows you how confusing this game is. But I do know that I think it's supposed to be like 3 more chapters, and we played up to chapter 4. So I think this game is supposed to have like I think 7 chapters. So realistically, we're past the halfway point. But I think like the last chapter had like was probably like one of the like last chapter we played. I think was like probably like longest in the game so far. There was like a really tricky like the first one in regards to like when I first started this game in episode 1. There was like definitely like some really tricky puzzles there. And the last chapter, it wasn't necessarily that everything was like it was kind of confusing. But overall, it didn't really seem like it was too bad. I don't know really which puzzle, like which set of puzzles I would say was worse, or I don't really want to say worse. They were cleverly done, but I don't want to say I don't know like which one was actually more difficult. But they were all like pretty well done, and even though still I don't exactly rationalize like a lot of like what it was I was doing. So couldn't it being like trickier, like something tougher we gotta do tonight. But like I said, we are in the last 3 chapters. I would like to go ahead and finish this up tonight. So that way, when I come back to streaming next week, I'll be able to go ahead and like try to wrap up The Last of Us, like focus entirely on that. And also not to mention like this week going up to my vacation. My vacation starts on Saturday. I've got like other plans. If you guys like check my schedule, I posted on my socials, as well as on my YouTube channel. You'll know that today, obviously, I'm gonna be doing my usual non-horror focal thing because I'm still like trying to. I had like this whole month of horror I was doing throughout October, but due to moving, I'm explaining this for those who don't know. I had like this whole month of horror I was doing like in October that you do yearly, but due to moving, I had to like, kind of extend things in November to get caught back up. So I'm kind of like trying to, end things like with The Last of Us, this. And as far as like, Wednesdays, I've still stuck true to like, doing my Chrono Trigger and Crime Scene Cleaner, streams on those days. That's been the only exception to horror like throughout like October and this, this thing has continued to go on. Try to collect my thoughts because I'm exhausted. And it's been a bit of a day, and it's like I said, it's 1:20. It's almost 1:30 a.m. But yeah, Thursday I've got like more Liminal Core to do since they did drop Chapter 5 for that, and alongside that I'll be jumping into something else I've been really wanting to do for a while, but wanted to wait till October, which is like this one horror game on the on UFO 50, which is like is a retro game compilation that I would highly recommend to anyone like to try out because it's got like about like 50 games to it you can play. I think it's only like $24 on Steam. But I've got like a particular game on there called Night Manor that's like a point and click horror adventure. So I'm gonna be doing that on Thursday, try to play through the entirety of it. And then Friday I've got like a couple of anomaly detection games I'll be playing, which is gonna be 10 Bells, and also I think it's like One Last Clip. It's one last or one more clip, but it's like a theater style game. So I'll be playing those on Friday. And then of course Saturday, that's when I go on the break. And when I come back, like which should be somewhere around like the 16th or 17th when I get back to streaming, I'll be, finish up The Last of Us, and then possibly like alongside that, I may go and get started on. I mean, I'll probably like just like dedicate all my time to The Last of Us until I finish it, and then get back on Bloodborne. And as I said in the last stream, I may go and start on The Last of Us Part 2, juggling that alongside Bloodborne. It's a lot of stuff that's going to be on the horizon as far as like I'll be doing for this channel leading up in 2026. And I'm really excited for what I'm going to be bringing you guys. And plus, there is going to be a stream still where we got to put this, this guy together right here, because got this the other day. I've been talking like on and on about how I want to finish it, how I want to do a stream putting this and this little Optimus figure I got I want to put both of them together. This is like as a model kit by Blockies. It's that way my favorite Transformer. So probably when I get back from the vacation, maybe the day I get back, I may actually do a stream where I'll be putting this together. I may start with the Optimus one since that one has less pieces. So I'll be able to kind of get the hang of like how how you build Blockies, and then I'll I'll do the Soundwave figure. But anyways, we're going to get this ad break out of the way, Rogues, before I like ramble y'all's ears off, and then we're going to get started on trying to finish this game up tonight. Anyways, give me about 3 minutes, and I'll be back, and we're going to go and get started on this what should be this final Luto stream. So see you guys in a few. right, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna have to scare counter tonight. But I don't think I'm really. I can't remember. I think I had the heart rate monitor on for this before, but I don't think I'm really gonna use it tonight. I'll have the scare counter on, but I guess it's also because I'm just tired. I want to be bothered with putting it on, even if it's just like around the chest heart rate monitor. But I just, I figure I'll just go without it tonight. No big deal. So yeah. Hopefully we should be able to go ahead and finish this up, and maybe make sense of something this time. Okay, so maybe I actually did find 3 ghosts, because I think this actually is where I left off last time, so it was 3 I found, so yeah. Okay, so I remember I think I actually did find like a 3rd one. So, yeah. Kind of makes sense now that we're definitely past like the halfway point. I still say this thing looks like, it's like the whole primitive man thing, or like the evolution, like, thing you see, like where it's got like, I think like the baby, or I think it's like the Neanderthal, and then the man or whatever, like, whole like, evolutionary table or whatever it's called. Hold on a second, why is there one over here now? Maybe I actually didn't try to catch it before. His gaze is full of resentment. My gaze is full of sand. My gaze is full of sand and lips chapped, skin's dry. I'm probably like dehydrated more than like, that strip of beef jerky. I want beef jerky. I was talking about I want pizza earlier, and I got pizza funds. Alright, go ahead and go to sleep so you can wake up and grab on a brush and put on a little makeup. Grab on a brush. Grab a brush. Blah. Blah. Grab a brush and put on a little makeup. See, look at that. I'm botching like one of my favorite System of a Down songs right here. It shows how tired I am. I think I actually did that. See, now, if I had pizza, I'd bring it, and I'd eat it in front of you because I want it for myself. I guess we can go ahead and go to work or whatever, assuming like he left his keys on the table because he wanted to. I'd like to know who's like, painting all this graffiti over my house. I mean, the dog graffiti can stay, that's cute. Like I said, like, even though I still cannot for the life of me, like, figure out exactly what's going on with this game, whatever, I absolutely do love it. I mean, it's been fun. As I definitely do. Oh, yeah, that's right, because we did do that. Get your naked Pillsbury ass.
You shouldn't have seen that. I'm sorry, Samuel.
Yeah, go put some pants on, you deviant. Yeah, like I said, this does like have me want to try to look up some, like, see if there's any other, like, cause non-horror based. Whereas I love the Stanley Parable, and I still need to play back through Slay the Princess, or actually finish that up. That's another one I need to revisit. And then there's what was it? Oh yeah, like I did Title Pending. That was pretty awesome. So I want to see, and like in College Famous, that's another one I'd like to get back to, because it wasn't really a walking sim like Stanley Parable and Title Pending or this. It was like more like a text adventure.
Easy to get caught up in the excitement of solving a mystery, but
yeah, like, why were you naked?
Have a hard time finding the truth when you don't even know what the lie is. Keep in mind that the truth has many faces, and you may not like the one that is waiting for you.
Yeah, well, this one's moving, so. I'm concerned. Watch him jump me. But yeah, probably not gonna let me down here. Okay, I want to ask, like, who does you guys' like, sheets or whatever? I forgot look at the fabric softener is, like, you know, the one with the bear. Tide, I mean, Tide's not the bear, but I cannot believe I'm looking up, like, you know, fabric softener, mascots this time of night. Snuggle. I wanted to say Snuggle. I mean, seriously, who did y'all's, like, you know, was it Tide, Snuggle? Like, what do you watch? What do you, what's that fabric softener you use? There's a videotape in there. You were allowed to be sad. I was too. Sorry. And that right there is definitely a good message too. You know, one thing that kind of, like, you know, gets me, that kind of, like, you know, frustrates me at times, as someone who also has definitely had his mental health struggles, is when you have, like, people who pretty much, you know, go the whole route of saying, like, just be happy, just get over it, and things like that. You know, and obviously, you know, to me, you got, like, people out there that try to, like, you know, be toxic about positivity, like they.
How can you distinguish between what is real and what isn't? Do you trust what you see? What you hear?
I trust you to shut up.
What happens when everything starts to feel wrong, to seem fake?
Okay, Hangman.
It is night.
Don't do that now. But yeah, what I was trying to say, so I don't get jumped here, is that, you know, you have, like, people that go, like, the whole route, like toxic positivity, or, like, where they don't try to show any kind of negative emotions and everything. And my viewpoint has always been that not showing negativity is negative in itself, because you're basically trying, you know, it's when you basically, you know, do that, like, go that whole route. It's kind of like more along the lines of, like, yeah, it's definitely like lose and Purdue. Like, obviously, there's a time and place for everything. I try my best to not, like, you know, show, like, you know, my struggles on stream. Maybe at times I'll talk about it in passing, but really, I just kind of felt the whole toxic positivity thing, you know, and trying to be so positive, that's negative in itself. It kind of gives this whole, like, notion, like, you know, that's not good to be negative, which in itself is, like, of course, like, a very human and very understandable, like, emotion to feel, like, negative moods. Obviously, you definitely want to, like, try to make sure you get out of your, you know, get out of the hole you're in or whatever, you know, get out of your own head. But, you know, still, like, it should be, I feel like it should be more normalized, support people through those times, and say it's like, oh, you need to get over it, or, you know, just be happy. I literally had, like, this one dude that, see, it looks like the dude from the mortuary assistant. Like, I had, like, someone, like, you know, back when I was doing Holland acting, who was, at one point, you know, which for a while we ironed things out before we, like, you know, basically permanently, like, no longer became friends, just because the dude changed so much. Literally, like, in a message he sent me when I was, like, basically, you know, dealing with depression, he, sent me a message that's saying to,
Careful. Sometimes it's better to embrace fiction than to face what's behind the curtain or under the sheets.
okay, look, if someone's under the sheet, if I see someone under the sheets or whatever, I mean, I'm hoping that, like, it's actually, you know, someone I want to be there. I mean, I promise you this, if I, you know, I'm going to bed or whatever, and someone's under my sheets that I, you know, they ain't supposed to be there, where there's gonna be a fight. I mean, first off, how'd you get in my house? Second, why are you in my bed? But no, it's just like, you know, this dude I used to be friends with. His whole thing was, he sent me a message one time, because I was, like, really, you know, in my head and all that. And he was saying, and he was talking about, you know, I need to drink more water, eat healthier, and so on. I need to, like, drink more water, you know, eat healthier, and, you know, and be positive. That was his whole solution to it. It was like something along those lines. But I definitely remember him telling me, like, drink more water and, you know, and eat healthier. And the thing is, yeah, food is, of course, gonna, like, you know, sometimes, like, you know, food definitely does help. Love, amor, yeah. You know, food definitely helps. And everything, and of course, like, you know, eating something that is, like, you know, good for you can also kind of, like, you know, when you feel fuller and feel like, you know, kind of like that gives you that feeling of accomplishment when you're on a diet and you're eating better and everything, and when you're drinking water, and just, there's obviously, I guess, like, sometimes like a body and mind connection. Obviously, you know, we eat stuff that, like, nourishes you, of course, like, you feel better, you know, physically, and it does more for you physically. You feel accomplished, and of course that affects you mentally. But the thing about it is, like, that's definitely no cure-all for, like, you know, mental health, like depression and all that. You know, and it's just the whole thing, like, when people have got, like, stuff going on in their life that, of course, it's very plausible for them to be upset over. Given this whole mindset of, like, oh, well, you know, you shouldn't be so upset and everything. You need to just get over it, move on and all that. You know, people, like, have different ways that they go about getting through stuff and processing things. That's why I'm just never really been about, like, the whole, like, you know, excessive and forced positivity thing. You know, it's perfectly okay, like, to feel, like, you know, emotions about stuff, just as long as you don't let it, you know, control every aspect of your life and everything, and definitely try to, like, you know, make the effort to get through it. I mean, like, for me, it's definitely been an emotional year, and I've very much, you know, on other, you know, off stream, there have been, like, sometimes I actually have, like, very much expressed how I felt, like, you know, about things, you know, to the people in my life and all that, but, you know, at some points, like, you know, ways I really wish I could have been better about, but, yeah. Point is, it's okay, like, you know, definitely be sad, like that mess. I just went a whole, like, you know, thing about, like, a post-it note here, but it's definitely okay to be sad, you know, and if anyone tells you that you're wrong for feeling sad about stuff, you know, sometimes, like, you know, you might, if it's a friend telling you that and everything, they're telling you shouldn't be sad, that you need to, you know, get over it, this or that, whatever, and they try to, like, pretty much force you, like, you know, to get, you know, to get through things quicker than you know, than the time you need to actually do so, then it might be time to reevaluate your friendships. So anyways, we gotta, like, try to figure this out. I know we got that hangman thing. I'm having fun, that's probably a clue, and I'm sorry, and I know I just went on a little, like, you know, I don't know if I want to say philosophical or insightful thing or whatever. I'm hearing something moving around, I don't like it. So Lux, RP. Okay, so how's this gonna work? Do we have to, like, look around for the pieces? Or look around for the letters? So this puzzle might be a little tricky. So we're playing hangman, I assume. And I heard something down here. It sounded like those footsteps. Okay, whatever that noise is, that's definitely getting to me. Unless it's about the sheets or whatever, but... Wait, staff key. Hold on. So we do have a key now we can use over here, so maybe I just gotta actually use it on the door. Oh, it's definitely kind of creepy, like I'm hearing, like, other footsteps, like something's wandering around, but I think that's just basically how they're trying to trick me with all these ghosts. But I do know there has been, like, one ghost that keeps on jumping me throughout the game. Alright, so... There we go. I forgot I had the key for it. I guess, like, I was just over there rambling. I didn't think I actually checked the room. Don't do that now. For some reason, the white door opens if you click on it too many times in a row. Why didn't anyone hear? Help. Trigger flickering. What's this? I walk back through it? Oh. That's... That's wild. So apparently it's actually like, it's kind of almost like, you know, he's basically, you know, plotting his script or whatever, his movie or whatever. And it's literally like, you know, kind of like doing like, you know, cue cards here for the effects. And that's why I like this game is definitely doing like some really meta stuff. So it's actually kind of like make it seem like it's doing like something here where like the game, it's actually like, you know, playing with the game's mechanics. Like, obviously it's like, okay, like normally in a horror game, it's okay, you go to this spot or whatever and it'll trigger this in the game. That's how the dev has it set up. And so, like, you know, and right there is like where normally the trigger would happen. All right, arena. Did the thing update maybe? I think this might be a red herring. Arena. Hold up. Win. Ganar. Pausa. Madre. Okay, let's see what we got going on with this tape. Alright, yeah, so we're doing this again. These have been like really interesting as well, like these little videotape sections here. Okay, this, I know what this is. This right here is the spot that we can't go through yet. But I guess now we can because I just got rid of the ghost. I just got the ghost. Okay, let's not do that now, please. Oh, we gotta play Hangman now. Alright. Okay, I've got like very few chances to do this. I just noticed it. So we're actually playing Hangman, so if I miss this, I'm dead, I think. This is interesting. I'm probably about to die right here. I probably chose the wrong one. Oh, I got one back. I got a limb back. I don't think that's actually how it's supposed to work. I think I'm actually supposed to... I think I remember. Okay, so we got the O. Alright, I remember now, because I keep forgetting how to play Hangman. Because I think it's like each time we actually are building him. Crap. Alright. This is cool, though. I like this. The only problem I've got is, like, are we actually spelling something... You know what? That's the point of the cards. I get it now. The cards give us an advantage here. So, C-O, or we still got O. It's not romper, or R-O-M-P. Hold up. Could it be romper? Romper's the only thing I got here that's got an O. Let's see if an E goes in.
Samuel learned Spanish with games like this. It is fascinating.
I think it might be romper.
You transform macabre acts into simple children's games.
Okay, so I'm just gonna assume it might be romper. We gotta find the rest of these ghosts. This is a really cool thing. I like this. This is like some really awesome, like, you know, puzzle mechanics here. I'm a sucker for innovative stuff like this. And also, you never really see them use Hangman, like, you know, in a game. Like this, right? So, if I'm correct, this should be in the third spot if it's romper. Come on. Okay, that's just fucking evil. Oh, get your ass back here. Freaking ghost. So they took the thing away, so I can't... Okay, that's bullshit. They turned the lights out so I can't see the rest of it. Okay, so we got R. We just gotta remember, we got O, we got M. It should be M if we're right, and we got E. So we need P. That's my problem, though. We need to find two R's. If this is Romper, we need, like, you know, two R's. And there's still no guarantee it is that, but I mean, the M was in the right place. Is hallway endless, or... Oh god, it's gonna... X. This is concerning. They probably did that to fake me out. Ah, shit. That's not good. I'm probably about to die. It may not be Romper. But I mean, it makes sense because the M and the E are in the same spots. So yeah, that X right there was basically just to throw me off. It tricked me. But I mean, Romper's the only one that makes sense. I mean, unless there's like a card that I didn't get that just happens to have the M and the E in another spot. But the O, the M, and the E are in the same spots as where Romper would be. They would be like in the word Romper. Let's go and check this way. Okay. All right. Did we already go down this way, or was this we already here? Let's go check up here. I don't know if I've been this way or not. So I just ran. I was kicking this guy off this table. Stand on my table. What's wrong with you? Moment of truth. Is it a P? Or am I gonna die? It's Romper. Matter of fact, is that me? Hang on. See, we're listening like right outside. All right, so we need two R's. And we know two R's exist. I saw another O like somewhere. So there definitely will be two R's here. So we can spell Romper, which is kind of a given, you know, at this point. We just gotta find them. Like I was damn sure ready to kick my ass right there, though. Okay, there's an R. Okay, so all right, yeah, R counted for 2. All right, we are good. I'm glad I actually saw that. Because I figured, I was like, wait a minute, sun's up, because they're not showing me, because I thought it might have been we had to watch the Hangman board or whatever. Like, the actual, like, you know, thing. But they were basically already giving it to us. It was right there. But the reason they were giving me the cards or whatever, I was like, wait a minute, why are they only showing me this instead of nothing else? And I like that. That was a really cool puzzle. I can't see, like, what all this stuff is, like, saying right here. But I think it's supposed to be doing that. I'm not supposed to be able to see it. Alright, so he's blocked me off there. So I guess I gotta go back up this way. I guess it kind of makes, like, Romper is kind of funny it said that because it said break and everything. But really, when you think about Romper, I mean, I was romping around. Of course, we're not even gonna go into, like, you know, Rompers, like, you know, those weird leg onesie things that... You'd never catch me dead wearing one of those. I mean, I don't even remember. I swear, like, Rompers are just like it's a one-piece thing that...
Logic. When the walls were familiar and the corridors led somewhere. But for some reason you decided that wasn't the truth. And look at it now. The world bends, stretches, breaks down. And yet, you keep walking.
I'm not walking, I'm romping. Get it right. You touch me. So you start talking, so I'm assuming that means I'm going the right way. I mean, things have been pretty straightforward, all things considered. It took me a second to kind of get that whole thing going, but... See, let's not forget there was a ghost this way. It's that one corridor. So maybe now that I got the ghost out of the way, maybe he won't be here now. No, he's there. I see the X. No, hold on a second. No, he's not. Probably shouldn't have touched that. I guess I was supposed to. What the hell's going on with this game now? I don't know if I was actually supposed to go on right past the X and go to the door, or... I have a feeling I was supposed to grab it. I'm just going to just walk toward this massive like silhouette of Curly from the Three Stooges, I suppose. What am I looking? What? Oh no. Okay, well look. All right, here's the deal. All right, I'm trying to keep the stream like, you know, this is 18 plus stream, but I ain't looking at. What the hell are you into? Ew. Am I supposed to grab this thing or something? I mean, just look at it. Look at this photograph. I don't even want to say what that looks like. Do I have to go back the other way or something? Okay, there we go. I just had to keep walking. Or was it? I don't know if I gotta do this again. I mean, there's no going back for me, it looks like. Yeah, I got to figure this out. There's no way out. Alright, I'm just gotta figure this one out. Like, exactly what is it that I gotta do here? I know there's a picture right here, and I don't really think there's like... They don't really leave... There's something on the ground I gotta do something with? That's why I had to zoom in on it. I keep forgetting like the zoom things that you gotta zoom on stuff. Alright, that was on me. It definitely took longer than it needed to figure that one out. Alright. So I go back through here again, or was that it? I can't tell like which side's which here. Okay, I'll just keep going this way. I rather like, you know, go out here, see if this is the right way before I, you know, walk all the way back through the end of the hallway. That's why I can kind of just tell immediately. Well, not really immediately, but... kind of hard, like, you know, because a lot of this does, like, look similar. Yeah, okay, so I passed that ghost going up, so we have to, yeah. So I'm back at the beginning of this hallway. I gotta walk all the way back through it again. I don't know what that was about, though. That was weird. But again, this whole game is, you know, weird. In a good way. I mean, like I said, it's... I'm probably gonna like definitely need to like look this up after I finish it to kind of like get more of a base understanding of like the narrative of it. I mean, I know it's a game about death, and there's like been little things here and there. I mean, apparently like, you know, I don't know if they're trying to say his brother was sick, or there's a lot of stuff to take in. But I guess like sometimes I like games where they leave the stuff out the well, I don't really want to say interpretation, but they don't really hold your hand on exactly what's being explained. So I can't go through this door. So guess we gotta go back out this way and figure out what we gotta do with the photograph. If I got, is it in my inventory? Nothing there. Alright, so we'll head back down this way. Obviously, it's the only way to go. I guess I should have known better, like, when they left me, like, right there. Question is, which way do I go? Well, what am I saying? There's literally only one way to go. Okay, now it's well, alright, it's still only one way to go. So at least it's kind of linear here. I'm also just keeping in mind that all those ghosts right there, that one, you know, ghost with like the post-it note on, like that's, I guess it was like a post-it smiley face or whatever. That was a perfect place for it to attack me. Okay. He's saying help me, but that way's still blocked off. Is there still nothing here I gotta do? I could check back in here again, I guess. Alright, so where we gotta go next? Because, I mean, I'm... You see, that ghost is still blocking the way there, so there's no way to get around that. So that's the thing. They're giving me, like, you know, they're pretty much just seem like they're trying to kind of put me more on rails on where I need to go. So obviously the best thing I can do is like just, it's like they're kind of like, you know, telling me which way I need to go, of course, but I just got to figure that out. Did I go this way? I think I came from up there. I'll figure it out. Let me go and check down here. Like I said, this area is like, a lot of these places kind of like really easy to kind of get distracted or get thrown off. Well, not really distracted, but get, you know, lost. Okay, now we're talking. Back here again. Whoa. That one kind of got me. The asshole's just standing there. I think they did that on purpose. They knew what they were doing. Still can't get past him. Wait, is it... Ah, shit. Hey, leave me alone. Stop it. Look here, jackass. I ain't about to do that weeping angel bullshit. Now knock it off. Oh, hell no. Please start. Start what? Oh, shit.
Actions have consequences.
No, they do not.
And yours do nothing but tear everything apart. Don't think I haven't noticed.
What the hell? Did you trip or something? Hey.
Interesting.
The ghost tripped. The ghost tripped. Oh, chapter 22. Will we get a time skip or something? We're going One Piece here? Or Naruto Shippuden or something like that? It's full on time skip. I mean, I'll probably grew like 2 inches, and I'll have like same hairstyle or whatever. But then like some random like eye scar and like I don't know, like firm dedication. I mean, just firm dedication, like become the next Hokage or some shit. I don't know. And I just like talked about the eye scar, like basically referencing Roronoa Zoro. The fact he ends up getting like one of his eyes is like it's just scarred up and he can't use it anymore. They don't explain what happened to him during the time skip. Like I'm up to Egghead or wherever, and they still don't explain what happened.
I have witnessed too many times how your world crumbles when you dig where you shouldn't. And it is sad when you think you can climb the rubble. Because the truth is that most of you end up screaming under it.
I'm going to get this coin. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm going to get this Wario looking, or this Mario / Wario looking coin. I say Wario because I'm about to get my grubby hands on it. My peanut. Oh, okay, Look, all right, you can growl all you want, but that's my coin. I'm going to buy a milkshake with it. I said mine. You're not getting it back. Jerk. I want a milkshake, okay? Possibly a pizza. Okay, so... Well, thanks for your insight. Noted. Whale. Oh. Okay, that kind of hurts.
You owe too much to your pets.
Oh, nope. Nope. Okay, that one kind of hurt. I didn't click it yet. Come on now. Okay, we got our... all right, we got our last ghost. Just gotta get to it. Or not last ghost. It might be the last. I don't know. I know we had like 3 before. I know we had 2, and I swear I thought we got like another one. So this could be the last one. Hey, get back here. I know you ain't trying to run away from me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can be able to finish this game tonight. We already got like through like 1 chapter and this one right here. So that last one's pretty quick. So they keep going that way. We'll definitely be able to finish. I'm not even an hour in yet.
The third one was,
This might have just been the 3rd one. So we should have 1 more.
For years, Mr. Button and I were inseparable. We adopted him after losing Isaac. And at first, I felt him as a replacement. It was horrible. over time, he became much more than that. He filled the void I didn't know I had. He was basically everything to me. To the point that I needed him more than he needed me. Despite his tiny size, he always protected me. And that reminded me a lot of Isaac. God, I miss him so much.
For a moment, I thought you would say something. Yeah, that one kind of hit me hard, Rogue. Sorry about that. It's mainly because of the factor that I got a dog who's, my dog Rorschach. He's like, like about 12 years old. It's kind of like hard to really gauge his actual age because we adopted him from a family friend at the time. He's a Boston Terrier and he's basically my life. He doesn't really show up on stream that much, but basically because I kind of like, I keep him out of the streaming room and everything because he does kind of like the nibble on stuff at times, and so I got a lot of collectibles. But times there has been like at least sometimes I have like, got him on my lap and show him to the chat and everything. But he's my world, and it's just, reality's kind of caught up with me, and some time ago that he's getting up there, and he's up there in age. I know I probably still got a few more years with him, but I just keep on like having that whole fear of like when he does go, and it's just one of those things that always definitely kind of like just stings when I think about it, which is that, we as a species, human beings, we have done like so many screwed up things. And yet we live like, long lives, like over 70 years or so, if we're lucky, with how the world is this day and time. But you got like, dogs who are some of the most loyal, creatures, who are going to have your back through thick and thin. And we get them for such like a very brief amount of time. And it's just, to me, it's just been one of those things where I've always just let it like, it's just, it's not fair. It's so, unfucking fair that, dogs and cats, they're, I mean, yeah, cats can be mischievous as hell. God knows those ginger ones or whatever, the orange ones. Sometimes like Tux cats or whatever. But it's just mainly the whole thing with like, they're around for such a short period of time. And I feel like, it's a double-edged sword thing where it's like, cats and dogs are around for such a short period of time. And with them being so loyal and so, dedicated, fiercely protecting you as long as you raise them right and everything. Basically, being like, so dedicated to you and being your ride or dies like my dog is to me. They're kind of like, their short lifespans are pretty much a means like, teaching you like to kind of cherish things, because nothing lasts forever. And Rorschach is like the dog I've actually had like, the longest in my life. I had another dog, several years ago. Ah, shit. I'm about to fail this because, oh, you asshole. I don't know if that was supposed to happen or what. But yeah, it's just like, like, we have like, cats and dogs for such a short period of time. And like I said, I had a dog, years ago, named Panda. I only had him for probably about 3 or 4 years, before someone poisoned him. I was away one day, helping out, like, helping my aunt with something at her house. And I came back and, he was still alive. And I'm definitely not trying to bring the stream down, but this is like a game about death. So I'm just kind of like talking about my experience. But I came back from going to help my aunt out with her computer, because she had because I was like the computer guy, in the family and everything. So I went like helped her out with some stuff with her computer, like, and I think they also had a DVD player that was like on the fritz, and I kind of fixed that because it was just like a bad lens. I talked about in a previous stream about how like I'm someone who, as a kid, I would take our family's DVD player apart and put it back together. And I came back to my house. I came home. And normally, Panda would he would come at the door, and kind of like, greet me when I came in. This time he didn't do it. My first reaction was, something just told me something was wrong. So I ran in the house, ran to my room looking for him. I told my aunt not to go anywhere, I told her he didn't come to the door. I thought it could have been possible, someone was telling me he could have been asleep, but also like at the end I just felt like something was wrong. So I went to my room and I noticed that, I heard like, like a little noise, like whimpering or whatever, or like, some heavy breathing, whimpering in my closet. And Panda was laying there, on his side. And there was like, a bunch of like, saliva right there next to him. So, I picked him up. I was trying to like, get his attention or whatever, and, telling him, it's okay, I'm here and all that. And only a few minutes later, he died in my arms. So, and pretty much the general consensus of it was, I was talking to my aunt about it. We were talking to a lot of other people about it, and the whole basically what was explained to us. So like there were several people that pretty much explained like similar situations they dealt with or whatever. Um, and basically, it just was the conclusion it was come to that he was poisoned. So, and that's the thing, I live in a small town, like I said, where I've dealt with like with bullying, for a long time and everything, due to me. It's like it's definitely like a small country town. People like constantly like talk about each other's business and everything, and the whole thing is like you don't like fit their typical their whole way of dress or their way of life or whatever. You're treated as an outcast. It's one reason why I said like in my last of a stream, I live in a town where like I said, this town, I don't really have a whole lot of friends here. McD43 is like one of the few people here I actually consider a friend, and I've got acquaintances and people I do like talk to in passing and give like a, hey, how you doing, and sometimes little talks with them in person, like little conversations with them. But no one I ever really hang out with a whole lot other than McD43. So I've had like people that have bullied me over the years, and I know some of them knew where I live. So I'm pretty sure like the general idea was like the general thought is that someone like got in my house and put something in there for my dog to eat because they knew I had a dog, and I'm having a feeling they probably like somehow found a way in there and poisoned my dog. So yeah, it's one of my former like someone that I used to be friends with, which we it's not really that we're not friends, but we do. It's basically kind of like one of those things we just like grew distant. They actually, she had actually like etched like some artwork on a candle for me, and I still got the candle in there. I've never used it. I've got it in a plastic bag. And she actually, drew a picture of like Panda on the candle, with like little paw prints. And I've already decided that when Rorschach goes, when it's his time or whatever, I want him cremated, so that way, he's not going to be like in a hole buried somewhere. It's one reason why that hit me. When I saw like it looked like the dog was actually buried underground or something. I've got like, a fear myself of actually being buried. And I know that when I pass away, I'm, going to be, it's not like it's really going to matter. I'm going to be dead. But, it's just like the whole thing of like, I just don't like the thought of like, Rorschach being like, in the ground somewhere. So, cause like Panda, he's not like, it's just like the whole thing of like, it still like, kind of breaks my heart every day that Panda, he's like, buried like, in like, in a house I lived in, like, probably like several years ago, so a house I moved away from, and he's like still like in the backyard over there. So it kind of like just breaks my heart knowing that he's there, and I've basically left him behind, even though like it's just his remains. And I like think that there is an afterlife, and he's actually with me no matter where I go. But I've pretty much decided that when it's Rorschach's time, I'm gonna have him cremated, and I'm gonna have like a pendant made, so that way I can take him with me, wherever it is I go in life, he'll be there with me. So I'm sorry if I got emotional there, guys. Just that scene right there definitely hit me. But we're gonna like go ahead and continue this and finish this game. That's the thing about this game. That's the storytelling behind it. Definitely makes you reflect on stuff. And to the devs, you did a great fucking job with this. So thank you for this game. So I'm wondering if it says backwards. Like I gotta walk through backwards. Okay. Forward. How the hell I do that? All right, let's just test this. Let me try something real quick. Okay, this is a weird one. So he can go out of bounds, but I can't. This is confusing. I don't know how... This guy can, like, go back... Okay, so I don't know how this works, but... This is a weird one. What is this game? What does it want me to do? I know like everything was moving around before or whatever, but I don't know exactly what I did. Okay, hold on. So I know when I first did this, I went backwards and I turned around. So if I go backwards through this again. Let me go out of bounds again. All right, this one's confusing. See, the truck was able to go over it, but... Oh, it's coming back. I think I get something here. Okay, that's wild. I don't know this is what I was supposed to do. This is supposed to be the solution to it, but I'm taking it. That was pretty nifty. I like that. Don't know what the hell I just did, but I mean, it was pretty cool. Should I open the door? Okay, this is actually pretty wild. So it's almost like that we're actually inside the actual making of the game. So we're basically, all right, so this is where we start. Open door. I like how the game's kind of glitching up. I mean, this isn't me, guys. This actually is the game. All right, before we actually continue, because I don't know exactly what's going to happen next, guys. There is an ad break coming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. So for whatever does happen next, because I don't know what's coming. I mean, but I'm just gonna kind of like just I feel like it's safer to do the ad break and everything. I know like we're probably like getting close to the end of the stream anyway. Probably like maybe towards the end of this because I think this is the last chapter. If I'm correct. Let me go ahead and do a quick BRB, and then we'll be right back. Alright, guys. Yeah, it took me a few more seconds to kind of get back, so apologies for that. Alright, so like I said, I kind of like, feel like since things are starting to get a little bit real here, I want to go and get the break out of the way. Because it's kind of like doing this weird, like, this tech demo stuff or whatever it is. Or it's like, apparently we're just like in the making of the game or something. Like, we're just... Suddenly we're just like beta testing it or something. Anyways, having to call 3 times, drop the hammer is perhaps too confusing. It's getting more meta.
What you've just experienced.
Talking to Morse code now?
If you've come this far. Wow, even he's broken. You shouldn't have listened to him.
This is wild. I'm loving this. This is just like, cool how they're actually doing this right here. Alright, so I guess I wasn't supposed to do that. Open door. What's that? I just like how apparently it's just the whole game is going haywire here. We already did that. Just trying to figure out exactly what's going on. I wonder if it could be possible that what we're seeing here is this guy, like, okay, so he did like this whole thing for like, a script. And it seemed like you're trying to say it was, at first it was for a comic book. And that kind of thing that they were trying to like do a positive for a movie. But I really do wonder if what it could be is that he did this. This guy is actually a game developer. He did this like as a means to kind of like, deal with like loss or whatever. There's definitely something going on here, like some kind of narrative that's pretty cool. I mean, how they're doing it. So it's like we're basically doing like the building at the level here. And so we're finding out like what was like all this storyboard stuff was like it was for a comic book, but then
What a mess. But look at you, in a very human attempt to go back, thinking that
blue
all
screen.
your problems will be solved. I can't blame you for wanting to go back to the house, to the routine where everything was simpler, where you were safe.
I removed all the assets from the room and have left only the arena with the boxes referenced at the end of the game. Hopefully it also improves performance. I wanted to actually try to say, alright, so they're trying to say this is the end. Play music. But this is really, because it's definitely, like, this is also like a thing that kind of gives me like Stanley Parable vibes, because there was actually parts in the Stanley Parable where the game did break. So we did this now, whatever, now we have access to this, so. Like, where you actually were able to kind of break the game. Like, not for real, but it was kind of like a meta thing where it seemed like the game itself actually ended up breaking. And it became self-aware. Everything went silent. And see, this was that ladder we weren't able to climb before, because it basically, forced me to quit out, so. I was wondering how else it was going to probably mess with me, but yeah, you guys, like, you're kind of catch this silence here or whatever, that is literally the game. It's not me. There's nothing like, like the game's audio actually cut off here. Like everything muted, so, see?
You can keep banging on the door or it's going to open it from the other side. After all, you're here.
Ah. So I'm guessing he's... What's that? No. You ain't fooling me. We're not done yet.
All this odyssey to end up here again. It's not working, is it? I don't know what you expected by breaking everything.
Is the game over, or?
Now you can only wait for another, what do you call it now? Deus Ex Machina, maybe?
I'm trying to make sure that...
The help you've been getting all along the way, I guess you've noticed.
Yeah, I can't access anything here. I'm just trying to see if it actually is going to work again, because I don't want to like exit out the game without actually knowing it. Okay, this is wild. There we go. All right, we got back in. That was pretty hilarious right there.
Exactly.
The freaking ghost, dude.
Here you are. Catch it.
That can't be it. What the hell is going on with this game, guys? Like, seriously. I'm gonna laugh this booted back up in, like, a very crappy resolution. You know, I'm on a PS5 here. What the fuck? Oh, no, we're... What's going on here? Well, I got 4... Okay, I got 4 coins. What the hell? Some dark deception or something here? Or Pac-Man? What is going... Oh. Oh, shit. Yeah, we're doing... Okay. Oh, God. What is going on with this game? Get off me. So basically, this definitely that's another game I really do eventually want to play. You know, the full version of. I played like Dark Deception back in its early days. I think when it was like, I can't remember if it was like an indie, like it was just. I can't remember if I think when it was like it was free or whatever, but before it like ever released on Steam. I don't know. It's obviously it's Pac-Man, but it, you know, Dark Deception itself had like Pac-Man vibes. That's one game I really do want to play through the full version of. I don't really think it's that difficult or whatever, but I don't know if it's possible to die here or not. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'm guessing that the... Thing is, I've never really been the best at Pac-Man, but at the same time, it also seems like I can take damage here and not actually die. See, we can get this last heart. If we need luck, I can get this on the first. Hey, God damn. They're stealing my hearts, I think is what they're doing. Crap. That was cheap. So I don't know if there's actually a way to die. Alright, there's the heart right there. Just gotta get to it. The problem is, like, these things show me which way to go. Ah, shit. Yeah, I'm stumbling around trying to find these things now. Oh, crap. Okay, that was bullshit. That's the only thing that... Yeah, this is kind of a little frustrating because it seemed like... I mean, I probably should have just deposited the hearts. Now I gotta start over. So you can die. Okay, so we gotta, like, go back here. This So I've never really been the best Pac-Man player, but like I said, the thing is, like, you get, like, a few tries here. Like, you don't, like, just immediately get hurt. Or immediately die. That's the thing, when those things explode, everything turns red, it makes it hard to see the spiders, because the spiders are also red. Oh my god. I gotta beat this. I'm guessing this is probably gonna be like the finite thing here, like once we finish this where we're done. Hoping we are. Okay, that was... And I just lost both my hearts right there. See, that right there was very screwed up. I think it's messed up that actually because, like, can't spawn right there. Yeah, alright, I changed my mind. Like, this is straightforward, but yeah, this is actually pretty challenging. Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, I'll say this is probably like one of the only things that's kind of like slowed this game down. I'm hoping that maybe if I actually, you know, lose all my coins where I can, like, restart or something. See, and that right there, it's just... It's just frustrating, like, when they bite you and it immediately makes you lose your hearts. Now I gotta collect them all over it. And that right there is just, you know... I may just go and try to, like, just deposit this if I can. Not take any chances. And if I gotta do it one by one, at least this means I'll be able to... See, that right there is what I'm talking about. That right there was completely uncalled for. The fact that it follows you in there as soon as you get it, like, and there's no way to get away from them. This is like, I feel like it's, no offense to Deb, but this right here is definitely harder than it needs to be. The fact these things can like just, like, and I was doing good before and everything. Yeah, I'm just really not like much of a fan of this. Everything else about this game, see that right there, immediately, didn't even have a chance there. That's my last coin because of this. I hope it's not going to be that, you know, if I do this or wherever, I'm going to lose entirely. And I'm just not really, you know, keen on this mode. You know, it's, everything else has been cool about the game. But this is like something I gotta do just to be able to like get the ending. And then that. And I'm dead. See, that right there is my problem with this. So basically you're trying to get started and then like these little spiders get on your face, you can't see the big spider, and then you immediately die. I don't even know there's actually any way to beat that thing.
Lights, camera, action.
Well, at least you know we're still continuing.
I didn't expect to see the insides of Samuel's world. This place definitely doesn't seem to be comfortable.
I thought we were actually at the end of it. Yeah, I need to look it up and see like if there's actually any point of beating that thing. But that, I'm sorry I got a little frustrated there, Rogues, but it's just, if there is any way to beat that, I mean, I don't know if there's just like, there's gonna be something like an achievement for, like a trophy for it or wherever, but I mean, I just felt like that was kind of like, you know, just, when you got a thing right there where, you know, you got these spiders that can kill you so quickly or whatever, basically the whole mechanic of it is like, okay, you know, you go and collect the hearts, and they hit you, it sends the hearts back, and then, like, they can actually still kill you and everything. If you don't have, I guess if you don't have, like, enough of, like, the little spears collected, I guess that's your health. So, it's like, okay, they hit you, whatever heart you had, like, you have a heart, it gets sent back to where it was, so you have to go and collect it again. You got these other little, like, spiders that will attack you and everything, like, latch onto you so you can't even see the big spiders. Yeah, there was, like, just so much going on there where it makes that, like, you know, very difficult to complete that. And then the fact I got, like, those 4 coins I collected throughout the game or whatever, and then suddenly they're just gone. So I don't know if it actually was, like, a thing where, I don't know, that's scripted, you're not supposed to be able to win or what, but, and I'm sorry, like, you know, for getting a little flustered there, but, you know. It definitely kind of seemed like that was like a pretty, you know, cheap mechanic there to that. And I don't want to bash the creator of this game. I mean, there was, maybe there was you're supposed to lose, but. Listen, I'm going to look it up and see exactly what the whole point of it was. See if there actually was something that will change.
Routine was not a prison. It was a refuge. Monotony was a shield against the horrors locked inside Samuel. But you insisted on breaking it. You insisted on seeing. And now you can't stop seeing.
Look, I just want to finish this game so I can get my ending, dude. That's the only reason I came back. I don't know what you're talking about. Change day. I wonder if it's going to go like how I need to do it for, where eventually I got to go to my room. What the hell? So you're literally a green screen for the day. Okay. Chroma key in Monday now. Okay, good for you. Increase speed.
If you keep going towards the light like a bug, you may have the same fate.
This is pretty neat. Like that's kind of like a behind the scenes thing on the game. Trigger death. Furniture discarded. Telephone radio. This is kind of funny. In a way. Wood. Cardboard. Okay, that's neat. Where's the water? Okay, that's the water, I guess. Okay, let's see. There's somewhere else I need to go in here, over here. This is pretty cool how the dev did this, though. I mean, like I said, I know I had that little gripe, you know, with the little Pac-Man-ish game. I need to kind of look more into that. Is that a giant rat? Oh, that was, or that's a pig something. Giant piggy bank, or pig toy. What the fudge? All collisions in the game must be checked. I wonder if the ghosts actually were originally supposed to grab you.
What is it that motivates you to continue? By now, you should know that everything is broken. There is no script anymore.
This is wild. What the hell? Sequel ideas. Oh, so he's playing a sequel, I guess? Okay. I mean, I'm game for it, if he actually is doing one. This is actually a meta way of saying that the dev's that way of, like, it's a meta way of saying, I keep saying dev, like in he, so I think it might be a whole studio. This is a way of kind of saying they're gonna do like a sequel. I was saying, I think like the PC version just came out a few years ago, but the PS5 version came out this year, so for all I know, they might already have a sequel out or something, I don't know. I don't think I've really heard anything on it. Convulsions, levitate, closed door. So was I supposed to do that, or push the button? Because that's I like all the animations there. So if everything vanishes, there might be a reason for that. So I do this. See, notice how that goes vanishes. So I'm having a feeling I was supposed to do that for a reason. Let me go and check back in here again. So we just gotta figure out our way out. Like, we gotta, like, I guess, like, re-enable the collision meshes or something. Yeah, I didn't go all the way here. There's a hole over here. It was out of bounds. So hold up. As we're breaking stuff, I guess I gotta, like, maybe push the moon through here. Keep forgetting I can sprint with stuff, so. I figured I was gonna do something. I might have to actually figure out the puzzle first beforehand. I can't send it in there. I think I had to like throw the moon. Unless I gotta like jump down there with it, but I doubt that's gonna be the case. I mean, we can interact with the moon, so I'm pretty sure we gotta push it. See, and that guy's like down there. I don't feel like walking back over there, so I'll just. Alright, so. Trying to figure out like what it is I gotta do here. I know it seems like there's something I gotta do with the moon over there. I've got like to push it down into the square, into the hole. Yeah, it's definitely something we gotta do on the other side over here. Just gotta figure out what. A collision in the game must be checked. Let me see what happens if I do this and see if there's anything that brings all the ghosts back. I want to see if there's a possibility that something changes in here. I doubt it, but. Oh, there's another room. Well, can't do anything there. Now, set removes all objects. I wonder if I go back here and click this or whatever, it might remove something on that far right door. I doubt it, but. Yeah, I'm definitely kind of a little stumped here. I'm still like curious to that Pac-Man game I played earlier. Like, does have any weight on things moving forward? So the thing is, they want me to. They have it where I can push the moon. I feel like there's something to that, but the question is what? Like, you know, I can push it over there into the hole, but it pops right back out, or like comes back out. Right, so that didn't change anything. Like somehow we gotta get in there, I guess. Maybe. La 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 la. I think I get it. There's a refresh on it. If I'm correct, it can't like it can only like this like like correct like only one object at a time. There's like a little window where it's red, meaning it's inactive. So as soon as I push this through, where I gotta go through with it or whatever, so that way I can fall on through. I think in theory that should be what it is. Called it. Yeah, it had a cooldown, so. I don't know, maybe it would actually go up the stairs.
The last time, I keep thinking that maybe it was my fault for not calling the ambulance quicker, for not knowing how to give first aid. And I know I've been told I couldn't have done anything, but that's exactly what scares me. To have been there when he was dying and not doing anything, just watching my father's face struggling as his heart broke. I don't know. For me, everything is pretty dark since
The voice acting here is amazing.
I think I need help.
But I remain silent. And that's the thing about it. There's never anything wrong with going for help, rogues. The Fourth Shadow. It's not weak to admit you need help. That's the thing. Like, we live in a society where, unfortunately, people seem like they have like a lot of stigma and all that about mental health and everything, and it makes people at times like really concerned, like worried, and very hesitant about like opening up about needing help and all that. And my take on that is just like the whole thing I said earlier about like if you got like friends who are telling you need to move on, get over it, and things like that when you got stuff you're dealing
I'm not
with.
sure there's a way out this time.
Like,
Thanks to you.
you need to find you definitely need to just like reevaluate your friendships. But it's also in the same vein of if you got people that are judging you when you say you need help, then obviously you need better like people in your life in regards to that. Like I've had like no qualms whatsoever about like a million times I've needed help and everything, and if people are gonna judge you for that, you know, you're better off without them. I mean, I that's basically just kind of saying it like straight up there. Real, people in your life are gonna definitely stick around during your lows. And I know that sometimes like sounds selfish in regards like saying, oh, okay, real friends would like stay there, at your lowest points. Obviously, it's gonna be like people in your life. There are gonna be those that are gonna have like, they could have their own stuff going on and they may step away or not, but they could just not know what to say. And that's when I've actually at times like had to kind of like, come to terms
The
with.
story is over. Why are you still here?
Everyone's got their own lives, their own like things they're dealing with. So and that only like makes it like more of a definite statement. Like if you got people that got their own stuff they're dealing with, but they still stick around when you're at your lowest. Those are definitely the people you need to keep around, especially if they got their own stuff they're juggling, but they can still like stand by you. And of course, like if someone's got their own stuff going on, then they basically don't have like the spoons to pretty much be there for others. It's understandable. There are definitely like those that it's like for me it's always been like if people can't be around I understand, but it's just my take on is that if you're not able to be around, don't say you will be. Don't say you got my back and then never be there when you could be. It's just like for me it's all a matter of like people keeping their word about stuff like that. So yeah, it's always it's never like a sign of weakness to say you need help. It's if anything it's actually showing a strength, especially like I said when we live in a society where mental health stigma is definitely a thing. People like are even though it's not as bad like as much of a judgment like on mental health as it used to be years ago, like decades ago. Obviously people aren't as judgmental anymore back compared like back then when there wasn't nearly as much of an understanding on like mental health conditions and everything. But people of course it's still out there. You got the whole crowd, like the whole stay positive crowd or whatever, or just get over it crowd like I mentioned. Like I even had like someone like years ago back when I was on Twitter tell me in one post or whatever, he basically like when I replied to something I was talking about, I was kind of venting about stuff I had going on, and he's gonna outright say like just pretty much I think like how was he worded it, I think he was just basically just be happy, post positive, like just stream, be happy and post positive shit or something like that. And then when I called him out on, he said like it was wrong for me to kind of like say that he didn't advocate for mental health because he wanted people like to do better and get help and all that, but just the way he went about the whole thing was very much very aggressive and basically just telling someone, just saying keep your emotions compressed and just be happy, or keep your emotions suppressed, just be happy. And what the hell is just going on here? I can't get out of here. That still hits hard. I wonder. It like it was like some kind of like that was like a I was wondering if it might have been like some kind of there's footprints, and then that. I wonder if that's basically. The problem is I don't know how to get back to where I was. I can try to start over, but That's the only thing that worries me. I don't know is that how wide this expanse is. I mean, maybe I just gotta keep walking.
The story is over. Why are you still here?
Don't you turn this off on me. Oh, leave it alone. That's twice now this game's done like shut me off. I didn't do that, Rogues. Once again, it shut off on its own on me. I'm about to go right back in there. No, that's not funny. No, no, you're not about to tell me I need to stop playing. I'm going right back in. Mm-mm. Okay, now with any luck, this will be it. So I guess this ghost has got to be is actually got to be his father. Cause that's the thing. The last one was it showed like the him like standing at the sunset with his old man. So I'm guessing this should hopefully be like the actual ending of it. Again, I'm still like just kind of like wondering like the whole thing behind like that Pac-Man game. Like if there was anything to it. I mean, it was just like a trophy if you actually beat it. But God, that thing was actually just very difficult. I probably would have a better chance of completing it if I just like, I probably would have had like, a better chance of beating it like that one time. I was doing so good the first attempt. It seemed like it kept getting harder. I wonder if I actually had a chance of beating it if I would have just like, instead of just, holding on to my, all the hearts, I would have just like, turned them in. Because I kept on having to backtrack over. I had to keep on going back trying to collect them again. I think that's where I screwed up. Because I basically, I was holding on to them. I was hoarding them, and then afterwards, like, I kept losing them, and I was going back trying to collect them, and if I didn't do that, chances are, I maybe would have beat that game. Or just, like, turn them in, like, individually. This should be it. I remain silent. You want to go down? Yep. Yeah, do the solid steak special, I guess. Yeah, I know, like, as soon as I finish the stream, I'm definitely gonna get me something to eat and probably try to crash or something. Well, I don't know. I got a few things I need to do before I rest, but...
You got your way and managed to reach the other side. Was that really what you wanted?
Am I dead?
No, not yet. You are not on that other side. You are behind the darkness, beyond what a human is capable of comprehending. A place born of the spilled black bile of the sorrowful, where those tired of suffering hide, like Samuel.
Why am I here?
I find it hard to believe that you don't know, after all you've done to get here. And disturb one of my guests.
Who? One of your guests?
Of course. Do you think I don't know that you've already seen his face? Precisely. Everything is broken because you saw what you shouldn't have. But don't worry. I'm not the one who gets angry. On the contrary, the truth is that I appreciate those who come here, no matter what.
I'm really gonna have to look up the plot of this game, because it's so confusing. Aren't you the one who gets angry?
Yes. Let's just say it's not my thing.
Who are you?
Again? I am one of the many voices you hear in your head.
You know shit, you ain't shut up since I started this game.
Be the narrator, the ghost, the monster, the god. I am whatever you need me to be, so I can be your complete destruction, or your most precious companion. It's up to you.
Are you real?
Are you?
I ain't Pinocchio. I mean, I ain't got no strings to hold me down. I'm freaking real.
Me, just as you are you. Everyone in this world lives in contradiction, even those you call gods. Samuel's life is a great example of this, full of half-truths and half-lies. What if I told you that the one who has helped you and the one who has hindered you are the same person?
Wasn't me.
Does that make sense? Or is it paradoxical? The truth is that the answer doesn't matter. They are both real.
Who's hindered me?
That's interesting. Because that who actually includes a lot of things. It includes you.
Are we done now?
Oh, it's time.
You see, I couldn't move before. I'm finally able to move towards this thing. If I'm right. 'Cause I want to say I think I was shackled before.
He's here.
Let go of me.
Finally, you are face to face. I imagine it must feel strange, almost like a phantom limb. But I must confess, I've always loved this moment. You never know how it's going to end. So, go ahead, Samuel. What do you have to say?
I'm sorry.
Go on.
You see, it's lagging right here. Like, I feel like I deserve everything that's happened to me. I'm tired. How long will it last? My brother died. Yeah, I didn't kill Mr. Button. We need, like, yeah. I don't know if this is gonna, like, have any weight on anything. I should have just said I didn't kill my brother. I didn't kill Mr. Button. I didn't kill Joel. Everyone I love ends up leaving. Everyone I love ends up leaving me one way or another. When I feel so guilty. I don't know why that's not working. I should have, like,
Stop. You shouldn't say that. I can feel the pain, and therefore understand where these statements are coming from. But I can also feel the doubt in them. So be fair.
Will you do it too?
You see, something as simple as doubting can drastically change the perception of things.
Amen to that. Aye. It's hard for me to say.
say it.
I want my dreams back. Probably should went with I don't want to feel alone anymore. I want to be happy again. It's a little like the lag here. I mean, it's not like, you know, me. It's the game or whatever. I want to live. I think it's actually supposed to do that.
I find it very interesting to see someone who manages to get out of this place after facing his fears. But I feel the need to make an observation, Samuel. You were never alone, and you never lost your dreams. That's why you made it this far. I have nothing to add, but you should take the opportunity to say something more before you leave this place.
I guess like a lot of this is just this guy like trying to just kind of, you know, cope with everything. Like basically all this stuff with, it wasn't your fault. I guess it's like his own self-loathing he's talking to, or his own like inner perspective that basically has been blaming him. This is his own grief and his own. So basically that was Samuel, I guess he was talking to, and he was talking to like that part of him that hasn't been able to let go and feels like he's responsible for all the deaths and everything. I guess feel like he could have done more, like to save his pet, to save his brother, to save his dad. So that was probably like just like, you know, that voice was his inner monologue, you know, basically that was his own self-doubt and everything. But this right here was him finding respect and finding closure and saying, you know, he wasn't responsible for their deaths, and, you know, he's been like mourning all this time, and he, you know, and it's been basically eating away at him to the point that he hasn't been able to function, and has been like extremely depressed, you know, just grief-ridden, and it's basically him finally finding, you know, that finding, you know,
Take care, Samuel.
You know, find his way out of it.
Until next time.
Okay. Okay, guys, looks like we finished it, and I just love how like the house just looks so much more upbeat again and everything. And the thing is, like, people were saying this game was actually terrifying or whatever, and honestly, I guess it's just maybe because I'm so desensitized to a lot of like this kind of style like horror game. I definitely had like some spooky moments, but it was more like tense, it was more atmospheric. You know, it's like you never really felt like you were in immediate danger or anything like that. I mean, it was spooky, but you know. Because I'm wondering if what is that, you know, he's actually moving out. I thought he was moving in, but maybe it's that he's moving out. Maybe like the perspective was like he was basically living here, like he didn't want to leave, and now he's actually moving away from his, I guess, his childhood home, and he's actually going out and, you know, living his life. Moving, like basically him moving away from the house is him moving on. Because I definitely like those like a lot of boxes right there packed. When I first thought he was like actually staying here. Now, there was that moving sign. Memory of those we loved and who are no longer here. I don't know if he actually moved in there or he was moving out. I mean, there was all the pizza boxes. That was a phenomenal game, Rogues. I ain't gonna lie. That was so much fun. The narrative there, whatever, was obviously, you know, very confusing. A lot of the puzzles were, but I guess like the main takeaway from it, I can kind of say that I was able to figure out and I was able to interpret is that this guy, like, you know, obviously lost his dog, he lost his father, and he lost his brother. And he's been like, I mean, I know there was like the whole thing of like, you know, it showed his mom and everything. I don't know if she just moved out or she basically, I mean, I don't know. Ever since that his mom dying. So I don't know if what happened was his mom either passed away herself or she moved out. She went off on her own, possibly ended up maybe, who knows what happened with her. I mean, I need to like look into more of the narrative of it, but look up the actual plot, get more of an understanding of this. Like I said, it was still confusing with that base understanding of things, but the whole thing I interpret is that this game was, it said it was about death, and this is pretty much just him having all these recurring nightmares, or just literally like living in like a waking dream or a woken nightmare, where that loop was him pretty much being able to being unable to get out of his depression. And obviously he felt isolated. He felt like, he was basically just trapped in this whole like reoccurring, nightmare. And that's basically in a lot of ways what depression can be. You basically feel hopeless. You have like no way. You feel like you can't get out, and it just feels like it's kind of claustrophobic at times. And the whole thing there was that he just couldn't get through this, and he was constantly blaming himself for like for their deaths. So I don't know if it really actually specifies exactly how old he was. I mean, it could have been he was a teenager or whatever. Who knows? I mean, it seemed like apparently he actually worked at a pizza place. So it's kind of like safe to interpret. He was definitely like, he was like a young man. He was probably like maybe in his 20s, possibly maybe his early 30s, not sure. Couldn't even been a teenager, because it seemed like it was probably almost trying to, I mean, with the fact that his pet died, as well as his father and his brother, it kind of like definitely, kind of gave a kind of idea that maybe, just maybe, he was possibly, maybe like, in early 20s, late teens, who knows. But I'm guessing like it's hard to interpret if he was like, living at that house. Or I don't know. I think that might actually been the whole point of the for sale sign. I think it could have been that, he just like he had the sign there, but he wasn't ready to move out yet or something. I mean, I don't know if it's that he moved into the house or he moved. Actually, no, it can't be that he moved in. I don't know. It's so confusing. All we know is like we had like the room there was obviously, I think it was a childhood room and everything. And it seemed like right there in the end, it seemed like it was trying to imply, I guess, he was moving out. So I'm guessing it could have been that he had the sign to move out of the house, or basically put out there as for sale, but he wasn't ready to do that yet. He wasn't ready to actually put the sign up, like the house up as for sale, because he was basically holding on to all his memories, like his brother's death, his brother who lived there, it was a family home. And I guess they could be interpreted at the end right there, that was based all the boxes being packed up was him moving out, was finally him letting go, moving on with his life. And maybe all the pizza boxes we were seeing was basically just him like eating like a crap load of pizza. Like basically since he worked this job, like that's how he basically was like eating. He was getting like, just pizza he could eat. And that's how he's like, and also of course with pizza, key thing about that is that when you're like, it's obviously a comfort food. And so when you're depressed, obviously that's going to be, pizza's like definitely one of the most well-known comfort foods out there, like alongside donuts and stuff. I would know because I've had my times where I've definitely partaken in the pizza pie, when I've been dealing with depression. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking up more about the plot of this, but it seemed like at least at the end there it explained a lot of things, but the whole thing with like throughout the game it seemed like it was pretty confusing. I'm guessing that I want to look at it, since there was 4 ghosts, I really do look at like one was his dog, one was his father, and it might have been his mother and his brother. And what's that 3003? I want to see what this is real quick. Wait, wasn't that the name of the game we played earlier? Okay, so we can actually go back through and replay it, so that's cool. So we had the coins earlier to actually have like limited, like, amount of times to play through, but now we can go back through and I guess play it on free play mode. So I guess that there actually is some kind of like trophy behind this. That's how you'd get it. Some, I guess it'd be like a lot less pressure that there's actually, free play to this now. So at least I know, now I feel like not as bad. Let me see if there is it. What's it show here? So I have 5 chances to pop before it's the game over. Okay. So at least we know we can do that again, guys. But yeah, I mean, overall, that was a really solid game. Definitely enjoyed it, like, highly. Let me go and kind of, like, turn this off right here, because I'm going to go ahead and, like, start, like, doing my, outro and all that. Because, I mean, it's 3:20 a.m. I don't know if there's anyone, like, I can raid. And there's not really, like, anyone really in the chat or whatever. I mean, I could still do a raid, but I know there's, like, not hardly anyone in here. I mean, which I can definitely understand. You got, like, understand that, because it's 3:21. I said I was gonna like if I had to play till 4 a.m. I would. So yeah, I doubt anyone's gonna be live. Like that I know. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anyone. So yeah, in all, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and actually start wrapping things up here. And I'm definitely have to like change like the thing on like Twitch, the title, say Luto end or just I don't know. I'll probably just like say like Luto and just take the part 3 out. But I'll definitely have to like label it properly on YouTube. But no, that was a very fun game. It wasn't as scary as like I know like people were saying it was a terrifying game. Some even saying it was like it was the scariest game that they played this year. like I said, I guess like with me being someone who's played like games that are like much spookier, like Outlast. I played like all the Resident Evils, few of the Silent Hills. I guess it's just because I'm I played like a lot, I played like a lot of horror games that definitely to me were spookier than that. And it's not to take away from it. I mean, the game was still had a few moments where I did jump. But like I said, I'm used to a lot of atmospheric horror games, and I kind of like was already able to tell with Ludo that seemed like it was a game where there wasn't really like as much in the way of like things that actually were gonna be a threat to you. There were like a few spots where I had to reset, like I had to start over, like I basically had to start a section over. That thing where like the creature that was in the dark, so I guess it was like was Samuel's manifestation, nightmare's manifestation of Mr. Button. Um, there was really like no real risk of actual death there, and that's when they kind of took away a lot of the fear factor of the game. It was more atmospheric, I guess. Like in this whole thing with like all the ghosts all over the place, also was kind of making it a little more unsettling. But that doesn't really take away from the game for me. Everyone's got like their own different way, like horror that they're either desensitized to, just not scared of, or just terrifies the hell out of them. And for me, it's like I said, it's mainly stuff that pertains like stuff like I haven't really haven't been able to beat any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games except for Security Breach and Into the Pit. That's because you actually can run around. But for me, horror games actually are really spooky, are the ones that actually do kind of like unsettle, like really get to me, or the ones where you can't really move around, where you're stuck in one position, can't do anything, and it takes like that sense of power away from you, sense of control away from you, and you're basically having to deal with that. That's the reason why like some of the security, like in Security Breach, where there's the sections where I was stuck in security rooms, like trying to fight off Monty and Roxy and Chica and all them. It definitely was kind of like a little bit tricky for me to get through that. Yeah, exactly, Jeremy. Also, welcome in. I don't know how long you've been there, but yeah, yeah. It's basically like you're just stuck and can't do anything. Oh shit! Hold on. Ah, damn. I was trying to snooze. Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. I accidentally hit the snooze button because I was like, up here, like I said, I'm a little tired, so just like I was like, oh, button push, bam, like ad. I accidentally pushed thing like to run a 3-minute ad instead of like the snooze one, even though they're like well across from each other right there on OBS. But definitely last like ad break for the stream for sure. Just But anyways, yeah. That's just like I was saying though, back on point. That's kind of like just how like horror is for me. Some of the scariest horror in my view. There's like 3 levels of it. The horror where you can fight back, like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, things like that, where you get like some kind of weapon of some sort, so you got that sense of power. But the only thing about that, of course, is what's terrifying about like survival horror games is like you basically, there's like there's a little bit of micromanagement there where you really got to like make sure you have like ammunition on hand, don't waste through all of it, because in the older Resident Evils, that's a good way to get yourself locked out completing the game. Literally with Resident Evil 3, there's like I was streaming a few years back. I believe it was back when I was on Mixer. I was like playing through the entire Resident Evil series because there was running time I think like Resident Evil 7 was coming out. Or actually no, was it 7? I can't remember. I can't remember, I think I just like went through the series. I don't know if there was like another game that was coming out at that point or what. I think I just like played. It might have been that just it was up to 7 at that point. Or it could have been Resident Evil 2's remake. I think it was coming out. I can't recall, but either way, I played through the entire did a marathon of all the Resident Evil games. Like the main timeline ones that were up to release at that point. Including the ones I hadn't played yet. Like I hadn't played Resident Evil 2's original version yet, or finished Code Veronica, which I finally done that and everything. And I believe it was like during one of my Resident Evil 3 streams, I got to the fight with Nemesis at the clock tower, but I didn't actually have enough ammunition to actually beat him. It had been ages I played Resident Evil 3, and I was like, shoot, that was a rookie mistake I made. But thankfully, I was like, okay, guys, I'll get back up to this point by the time I do the next stream tomorrow. Play back up to that spot, had plenty of ammo, and just waste them on the first try. So, yeah. The thing about survival horror games, like, Resident Evil and all that, is that if you don't have, it's basically like micromanagement and that possible fear of, you get into a boss not having enough, ammunition to beat it or whatever. And then, knowing that a run could end up having, getting reset. Good example of that is, last year I played Silent Hill 3, got to the final boss, didn't have enough ammunition to, finish it. So, my Silent Hill 3 series is still incomplete on this channel, is incomplete on my YouTube channel. And I was saying I want to go back through and properly finish it. But at the same time, literally it was right there at the end with the final boss. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm more or less got to go back through and just play up to the point where I beat this boss. That's going to be a very short stream. Otherwise, people are going to be seeing a whole lot of stuff I've already done. So Silent Hill 3 is kind of definitely I hate that it's unfinished on my channel. I don't know if I'm ever going to, I want to go back through and properly try to finish it. I just hate the fact that it's going to be probably a repeat of some of the stuff I did before and try and figure out what spot in the game I can probably play back up to. And because I don't really want to go through and do a whole nother playthrough on Silent Hill 3. So I'm someone who likes to just basically do one playthrough of a game on his channel, be done with, unless there's some kind of branching, some other endings or whatever, or another reason I just want to go back there and revisit it or something. Good example being the times I've actually, replayed some games I played before is just because I needed to go back through and properly, do a series for it on my YouTube channel, because previously I played on sites where the VOD for it is no longer available. So yeah, with survival horror, what's scary about those games is, of course, if you get to a boss, you get somewhere where you feel like that feeling of not having enough ammunition to get through that part, and then having to start a whole nother playthrough, because older survival horror games are notorious about that. Thankfully, a lot of the newer Resident Evils kind of give you more leeway, give you plenty of ammunition, also give you options to buy more ammunition and everything. But the older Resident Evils, you got to a certain part of that game, you didn't have enough ammunition on hand, you're gonna have to restart that run. Especially Resident Evil 3 with Nemesis, and in times the scripted fights with him. But again, and then there's games like Outlast and Amnesia where you can run, but you can't fight back. Only thing you can do is run. So obviously, the whole thing behind that is that a little bit of sense of helplessness, that you can't fight back, you can't shoot anything. So all you can do is run away, and then go into an area hoping that the whatever's there isn't going to spot you. Good example of this being Alien Isolation, when you got the xenomorph that actually adapts to what you do. And so this basically doing something that basically having to try to find ways to adapt, basically find somewhere else you can hide that hopefully they're not gonna figure out, because the whole thing is you can hide in a locker one time, but then chances are you're gonna go try to hide in that locker again, it's gonna be onto your tactics. And so it's the whole thing. And also I think there's even times you have the flamethrower, you rely on it too much, eventually it just gets wise, so it just Zerg rushes through the flamethrower and just comes to kick your ass anyway. So games like that where you can hide, but there's a helplessness there, wondering if where you're hiding is actually gonna be good enough. And then that whole like scene where like the enemy just yanks you right out of the locker, or they see you go in the locker and jump and yank you out when you think that they didn't see you or whatever. And then of course there's the games like Five Nights at Freddy's where you're stuck in one position. And for me, that's definitely where it's like the kind of game I have like a lot of like apprehension for playing because I just don't like that feeling of like being stuck there, not able to do anything at all except watch a camera, knowing these things are coming at me and I can't do nothing about it. So it's just definitely gives like that really claustrophobic feel of it. But eventually I do want to try to properly play through the Five Nights at Freddy's series because again, it's a series I have a lot of respect for. I'm literally right there on my little horror shelf. I've got like, all four of the original animatronics. Um, Series I got a lot of respect for. Can't wait to see the second movie. Don't care what people say about the first movie. I actually enjoyed it. And but yeah, like I said, different levels of horror for different people. I'm just like used to the kind of stuff with Luto, and as someone who also was a former horror actor, I also know like a lot of the tropes and a lot of like the tricks, tricks and tropes in regards like how to scare people. I grew up on horror, like I grew up on slasher movies and everything, so I know a lot of like how stuff like that works. So there was a few points where Ludo caught me, but again, it's definitely like the atmospheric horror is like one of my favorite subgenres of horror, if you want to consider it a subgenre. And it's just like a lot of stuff. There was like things I was used to, but that doesn't actually make it a bad game. Other people like it's just like with me. I grew up on horror. I've been desensitized to a lot of like variations of it, and so it's just like one of those things where I was used to a lot of it, but that doesn't mean others who play the game won't like be like more scared of it. There was definitely like some spots there where it was atmospheric and nothing was really gonna hurt you. Like I said, there was like parts where like something could attack you, but it's just gonna like start you like back up right there, where you were. But it was still like that whole like for as a first time player of it, it's like just wondering these ghosts right here, and they're gonna jump out and try to grab me. I was thinking that myself. Like, is this ghost gonna attack me? Is this one gonna like do something to just kind of spook me? And that was like probably like one of the scariest parts of it. Like when you're walking that area and all those ghosts are all over the place, and you don't know what anything's gonna do. A few times I was walking by them, I was just expecting it to actually try to choke me out. And then you look in like in the final area there where it was like doing like the little behind the scenes thing of like all the stuff that made the ghost like basically like showing like the canceled animations and seeing that there actually was somewhere they could grab you. So yeah, overall Ludo was a really solid game. It was like really good with the storytelling. You guys kind of saw it, and it definitely caught me at one point, like when I started tearing up, when he was talking about the dog, and I was going to my story about my dog, or dogs, between the one that was poisoned and also my dog I currently got, who's getting up there in age, which I got really, emotional, a little bit dark with it. But the main thing I'm grateful for with Rorschach is I know that eventually it's gonna be his time to go. And I know there's those who basically have the whole thing of like when they're being put down, not being able, not being like not being able to take being there like in their final moments when he dies and if he has to be put down. I'm gonna, be right there with him. I mean, it's gonna hurt more for me seeing him pass on, but my dog is not gonna be, going like, he's not gonna be leaving this world, in a, on like in a room with strangers he doesn't know, you know, with me not there. I'm gonna be right there with my dog. You know, he's been with me like for the past 12 years. I'm gonna be there, with him for his last seconds. And I know that's getting dark again, guys, but that's what this game was about. It's about like, death, moving, basically, death, is something that's inevitable for everyone. It's one of those things, kind of like how the Undertaker says, there's two things guaranteed in life, taxes and death or whatever. That's how the phrase went. So that's the thing. It happens to all of us. It's definitely very terrifying. For me to try to cope with it, I've, got like a couple of books about NDEs that I've read. Like one that I've read fully recently. The other one I'm still working on trying to chip through. That basically talks about a lot of like NDE research and everything. And I know that at the end of the day, there's that possibility it could just be like some form of unexplained science. But there's also all the paranormal, all this very weird stuff that comes with any NDEs. Like people like describing like shoes on balconies that no one else actually really knew about. Like in being able to describe everything that happened, like, during the surgery where by all accounts they were like dead or whatever. And like basically they would, having an out-of-body experience where they're seeing the doctors trying to revive them and accounting everything that by all accounts, them being unconscious and coding or whatever, they should not have had any awareness of whatsoever. And I know there's like some might say that's like smoke and mirrors, could just be made up stories and everything. But I try to like look in the mindset of it that it's not, and that there is something on the other side. That there are, because there's so much on this planet that's not explained. thing like very weird stuff that's happened that there's no real logical or scientific explanation for, and the fact that it's impossible for human beings to really like say they know everything about everything in existence because we haven't even explored like 100% of our oceans yet, let alone the entirety of outer space or whatever. So, in the sense of just like we don't know like what all life is out there, and in our oceans or out there in the universe, we also don't know like what life there could possibly be after life. There's obviously like, just so much that's not really explainable. So I try to tell myself, when Rorschach goes, like I said, I'm gonna have him cremated, and I'm gonna like have a pendant made, a pendant or something where I can take him with me wherever house I go, wherever I go in life. I'm gonna have him with me, and when it's my time to go, I definitely want to like have him, have that pendant or whatever it is. I want to take it with me. Like there too. I say I want to have him with me wherever I go. It's gonna be in life, and also when I pass on, I want to have him, there with me. But I also just want to like try like I try to like keep like optimism, even though it's really hard that that pendant isn't where he really is, and that he's gonna be somewhere watching over me, and I'm gonna see him, when it's my time. So the pendant's just like his physical remains, but the rest of him is gonna remain somewhere else, where I'm gonna get to see him again. So this is like was a very emotional stream, guys, but I guess that's kind of like what this game brought out of me, and that's a beautiful thing about like games, the storytelling that comes with them, and that's one reason I'm thankful for this person making this game. Gave me a chance to kind of get out a lot of these feelings I've had that honestly have definitely been subject to my mental health at times that I haven't really discussed a lot on stream. But I'm thankful to the developer for the game. I got a little pissed off tonight, as far as like that little Pac-Man game's concerned, but at least there's like the whole means of being able to play it again. I guess like it was just like from story standpoint. And I got a little like flustered about that, a little frustrated, but then like, at least like, you do get a chance to play it again afterwards. But that, like, that's the beauty of storytelling and gaming and any, medium, any game, anything like as far as like a book, a game, movie, or whatever else that really can resonate with the viewer and hit them like to that deep point emotionally, to where, they feel connect, like that basically just brings out emotions that they want to talk about, and they can connect with connect with that source in some way. That shows you that you got some like someone like made something really beautiful as far as that's concerned. And Luto was like something that, even though it was really hard for me to understand a lot what was going on, and it kind of like seemed like I was connecting the dots right there at the end, and still finding things like through all that confusion that I was able to really understand personally, such as like the whole thing about losing a pet. Yeah, that game was amazing. And for those who may not actually watch the rest of my stuff, my content for it, maybe you actually watch this little bit, or you just like hearing me like just talk about it in the end. You haven't actually seen any of my gameplay. I highly recommend you guys checking it out for yourselves. Because I know they said there was like only one ending to the game, and but overall it was still like something really solid. That's obviously where the comparisons to the Stanley Parable stop, because the Stanley Parable, like it was comparable to it in regards to a narrator, holding with like now the narrator, an area where you had like all this different stuff going on that you basically could explore and everything, and different paths, like branching paths. Sometimes things that seem like things were looping. That's obviously where like they had like the Stanley Parable comparisons, but it didn't have like all the endings of the Stanley Parable. But I can definitely see what they were talking about with PT, even though I myself never actually played PT, and I wish I actually had a chance to. But again, the one game Dreams, someone I think apparently did do like a full recreation of PT, almost to a T. I'm saying too many T's here. And if Dreams is still available, I can't remember if Dreams is still playable or not. I know I had it downloaded, I think. I may check into it, see if I can actually access that and try out that PT, recreation. But that'll be in due time, bro, because if it's possible for me to do that. Because I can't remember if Dreams is still active. See? The content creator Dream. But people are saying it's... Okay, people are saying Dreams is still available. I guess just maybe like, people are asking if it's dead or whatever, but I thought I heard somewhere that might have got shut down, but I don't know. But nonetheless, I actually might check into that, because I can't remember if I actually have like a physical copy of Dreams. No, I don't. So I think I had it downloaded. I'm actually checking that, see if that PT thing is available still. And I may play that for you guys sometime in the future. To see like what their views on are, see how accurate it is, and how accurate people consider it. I may jump on that. I actually probably look into it like after the stream. But anyways, that being said, guys, it is almost 4 a.m. It's kind of funny how I actually had said, like, on social media and everything, that if I had to play until 4 a.m. tonight to get this stuff finished, I would. And I got finished well before this. And this is all just me rambling about horror games, what effect this game had on me, and so on. But anyways, I'm gonna go and take care of the stuff I need to do before I get some sleep, because I do have 2 more streams coming for you guys today. We're gonna be trying to hopefully finish up Chrono Trigger as well. And then alongside that, I'll be doing more Crime Scene Cleaner for you guys. And I'm really excited for more Crime Scene Cleaner. I mean, I'm excited for Chrono Trigger because I've been playing it for a while, and I'm definitely overdue to finish it. But Crime Scene Cleaner, that game is another one I've really had a lot of fun with. And so I'm gonna be trying to finish that up today. Because I still need to eventually get around to play. Not finish up Crime Scene Cleaner today, but finish up Chrono Trigger. But Crime Scene Cleaner, I do want to eventually finish that up because Power Wash Sim 2, that's something me and my group still want to do, even though I have heard apparently there's a lot of issues going on with Power Wash Simulators, Power Wash Simulator 2's multiplayer, where they need to get that fixed or something. A lot of people are saying they haven't even been able to actually do multiplayer with their friends and family. But that's going to be coming eventually. But I do still want to try out that water park simulator game at least a little bit. There's, like I said, there's so much, in the pipeline for what I want to do with this channel moving forward, Rogues, and can't wait to bring you guys new games, ones I'm going to be revisiting and such. But again, yeah, Chrono Trigger today, as well as Crime Scene Cleaner. Then tomorrow I've got some more horror for Chapter 5 for Liminal Core, as well as a look at Night Manor, which is on the UFO 50, the game UFO 50. I'll be checking that out. And then Friday I got a couple of anomaly detection games I'll be doing, which should be short games I should be able to do in one stream apiece. And then Saturday I'll be going on vacation for a week, and then you guys will see me back around probably maybe the 16th or whatever. But like I said, I'm a little tired, got stuff I need to take care of before I go to bed, and I want to make sure I'm rested before these next 2 streams I'm doing for you guys, and I promise I'm going to try to be live a whole lot sooner. But anyways, you guys are awesome. Thank you those who came out and hung out with me for, the stream, even if it was just a lurk. And you guys are great. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. And again, as I said during that game, it's okay to be sad about stuff. And, it's okay to admit that you need help. That's basically the message that game I think was trying to portray. And if anyone tells you otherwise, tells you need to just get over something, stop being sad when, it's your, place as a human being with these, human emotions to actually feel those emotions, as long as you can definitely make the time and effort to get through what you got going on, take the time you need. And people tell you that, you need to get over it. Those aren't the friends that you need. And if people judge you for actually admitting you need help, you can find better friends than that as well. I've learned that from my experience myself, and life's too short, as this game also kind of portrays, to let people dictate that, you're not right, that you're not in the right for feeling human emotions that everyone is born with. So anyways, you guys take it easy. Much love to you all, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Thanks so much for watching.